We start our prospect review of the Sharks by digging into the 2020 draft class.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef and also the co-host of the Western Conference Tuesdays on the Locked On NHL show. Thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be starting to dig into the review of the Sharks draft prospects. We're going to be looking at the members of the 2020 draft class and kind of reviewing their seasons and looking at what is next for a lot of these guys. So of this class, we have some new additions as the Sharks have acquired players who are in this class. So we're also going to be talking about Shakir Mukhamadullin and Jack Thompson, both who are members of the 2020 draft class, but weren't drafted by the Sharks. So we're going to be doing this for the 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 draft classes and looking at how these members of this prospect pool are kind of coming along here. So before we get into all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. It's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So let's get started with, we're going to go in order of the draft. So we're starting with Shakir Mukhamadullin, who was picked by the New Jersey Devils, of course, part of the Timo Meier trade. And this season with the San Jose Barracuda, had 55 games, scored 7 goals, 27 assists, 104 shots on goal. Did also have a brief cameo with the Sharks. In 3 games, 0 goals, 1 assist, 5 shots on goal, averaged 21.09 a night in that time. Corsi for 40.54, goals for 50%. So I think with Mukhamadullin, right, the kind of the big question is he NHL-ready? And I think it is an astounding yes, right? I think Mukhamadullin could have been playing in the NHL this season more, but did suffer an injury at the end of the season. Came in, was, he did play in the AHL All-Star game, but really kind of got shut down right after that and kind of dealing with that injury. So I think if he was healthy at the end of the season, we probably would have seen more NHL games out of him. But, it was kind of like the William Eklund treatment where, the season before, a lot of us were like, can we see Eklund on NHL? Can we see Eklund in the NHL? And they wanted Mukhamadullin to feel really comfortable playing in the AHL. And we've seen him turn into a defender who can play in all situations, right? Was on the power play, on the penalty kill, playing a ton of 5-on-5 minutes. Unfortunately, we don't get AHL minutes, but I assume it would be up there as he was out there a lot. You saw a lot of growth from him, especially in his own zone this season. I kind of touched on it a little bit yesterday talking about Mukhamadullin when I did my defensive tier rankings, but really impressive in the way he's getting used to the smaller ice surface. And I think kind of accepting that larger load from him. Still, I think he's maybe a little bit more work to kind of fill out his frame. He's still a little bit wiry. Again, this is not like a slight, he's not like he's a toothpick or something like that. And that'll continue to come as I think spending more time here in North America, getting used to kind of a little bit different game. But I'm really excited with what I've seen with Mukhamadullin. I think he is going to, I wouldn't write him in pen, but I would definitely pencil him in as a opening night member of the San Jose Sharks, because I think, again, we've seen him work on his defensive zone game, and we know the offense is there. I think he's going to be a really solid two-way player for the Sharks, and that's something they need right now because, we saw last year. So, moving on to the next member of the 2020 draft class from the Sharks, that is Ozzy Wiesblatt. This year for the Barracuda, 34 games, 3 goals, 8 assists, 33 shots on goal. Is now playing with the Admirals, part of the Nashville organization, the Milwaukee Admirals, and he's having a really nice playoff run with them. But you're wondering if it's going to click, and maybe this is the jumpstart that Ozzy needs to kind of get things going for his career, because you've seen flashes of it. You've seen kind of the style of play he plays, where he is a very much high energy type of guy, but we haven't really seen the production, and he's had a very kind of up and down career, especially once he's turned pro. Kind of lit it up in junior, especially on a bad team with the Prince Albert Raiders. But turning pro, we haven't seen that consistency from it. We saw a little bit at the end of the 2022-2023 season, and you hope that would be kind of the springboard for this season. It just has not turned into it. So interesting to see what happens with Ozzy coming, assuming he'll be back. We'll see what happens. Maybe who knows, maybe Mike Grier tries to kind of get something for him, package it. If the Sharks make a trade, he could be a piece where, maybe it's here, you see what you can do with him type of piece. But it feels like it's got to be go time for Ozzy here soon. So next on the list would be one Thomas Bordeleau, who I think we saw a tale of two different Bordeleaus. So with the Barracuda, 35 games, 11 goals, 14 assists, 88 shots on goal. And then after getting bumped up to the Sharks, he played 27 games, had 6 goals, 5 assists, 48 shots on goal, averaged 15 minutes a night, Corsi for 47.39, goals for 21.74%. And I know Bordeleau did a ton of his scoring on the power play this year. Of his 6 goals, 4 of them were on the power play. But I felt like you did see Bordeleau's game mature. And I think he's just one of those players who, watching him a ton in the AHL and watching him, every NHL game he just looks better on the NHL with better players around. I think he's just one of those guys who maybe just kind of needs those better players. You saw a lot of chemistry with him and Eklund, of course, that they developed the previous season on the Barracuda, especially on the power play, where those two were kind of stapled together on the power play. Bordeleau is going to, depending on what the Sharks do this off season, he's going to have some competition. But again, kind of like Mukhamadullin, I feel like you can pencil him in. But again, right, depends on what the coaching staff thinks of him, depends on what the Sharks do, if they maybe go out and try to add some more pieces. Well, we know they're going to try to add some more pieces, but depending on who they bring in. And but I do feel like Bordeleau really established himself as a potential NHL type of player. So he does need a new contract. So just something to kind of keep in mind. He is an RFA. So the Sharks own his rights. If the Sharks want to keep Thomas Bordeleau, which I don't see why they wouldn't want to keep Thomas Bordeleau, they're going to have Thomas Bordeleau. And because he hasn't played enough NHL games, nobody can offer him, they can't RFA him or offer him they can't offer him a offer sheet. So Bordeleau could potentially sign elsewhere. Bordeleau is going to be a Shark next year unless the Sharks decide they don't want to. And again, I don't see why he wouldn't be here. So, but I think though with Bordeleau, this was, going into the end of last season, going into this last off season, had some questions about Bordeleau of, do we see the best of Bordeleau? Has he peaked? Because I thought he played honestly pretty badly with the Sharks in his at the end of the season, and that 22-23 season, but really saw him working on his defensive game and kind of the details of his game. And I think for him, It's going to, again, big off season here for him if he can get himself a full-time NHL job. And I think for the Sharks, it would be nice for him to be just, again, another answer to a question for him. And played a lot on the third line last season, or kind of was most on the third line. Would love to see him maybe play with a little bit more skilled players. Maybe, again, they'll need to be defensively responsible, but I do want to see him playing with a little bit more skilled players and kind of see what that looks like for Bordeleau. So we'll continue to look at some of these, some of the going through kind of the middle round guys here. We'll talk about Robins. We'll talk about Gushchin and what's kind of next for these guys here, and continue to dig into this 2020 draft class, which has gotten a lot deeper here with the additions that the Sharks have made recently. So we'll get to that here in just 1 minute. There's no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that help you match candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US. So join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 job credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. You need Indeed. All right. Daniel, so we're going to be talking about the next guy. Sorry, not Danil Gushchin. Tristan Robbins, who a little bit of a tough season dealing with injuries for Robbins. I think that really, especially at the beginning of the season, right? If you don't recall, he got hurt in a preseason game and basically lost, the first 30 games of the season. I don't think he got back till after Christmas time, if I remember correctly. 42 games, 7 goals, 11 assists, 60 shots on goal. And it took Robbins a little bit to get going, but you saw Tristan Robbins, I think, especially down the end of the stretch, play some of his best hockey I think he's played in San Jose for the Barracuda. So hopefully with Robbins fully healthy going into next offseason, I think he's going to probably, again, I know what the Barracuda Sharks do, but you assume Phil Bisa is going to be the 1C. I wouldn't be surprised if Tristan Robbins is the 2C for the Barracuda going into the off season. And then having, I think for Robbins being that kind of next guy as a potential, 3C, 4C type of player for the Sharks, who, you've seen his defensive game really improve. He's done a great job kind of being a huge penalty killer for the Barracuda this year, kind of being a more well-rounded type of player. And being that on the Sharks, right, coming in and being a 3C or 4C for the Sharks, who can, shut it down defensively, but then also provide some scoring pop. And I really enjoy watching Robbins, especially the playmaker. We know the shots there, right? If you haven't watched Robbins shoot the puck, he can shoot the puck. But I think Robbins, the playmaker, has really kind of come along as well. So I would expect him to kind of go into training camp and as the 2C for the Barracuda again. Depending on what they do, a lot of questions that still need to be answered, but at least establish himself as a top 6 role. Maybe if he's in the 2C, if he's playing, kind of top 6 minutes for the Barracuda, and really taking on that challenge of trying to really perfect and, all areas of his game so he can be that well-rounded player for the Sharks that they're going to need, right? We talk about kind of where the Sharks are at defensively down the middle. You talk about Bisa, you talk about Edstrom, Celebrini, Will Smith, all these guys. But I think Robbins is going to be one of those glue guys for the Sharks bottom six, where again, whatever role you need him to play, if you need to play center, if you need him to play wing, if you need him to be a shutdown defensively, if you need him to go out there blocking shots and be a PK guy, if you need him to add some scoring pop, like I think that's going to be the role for Tristen Robins for the Sharks kind of going forward. And hopefully, again, the injuries are just kind of a little bit of a bump in a road, and he's able to fully get back to being healthy. Because we saw, especially his rookie season with the Barracuda, he was awesome that year and was well on his way to, he earned time with the Sharks. But again, those injuries, you do worry. So freak accident with that. But I'm confident that that Robbins is well on his way to getting healthy here. So and being a great piece, kind of bottom six piece for the Sharks. So moving on to one Danil Gushchin. So he 56 games this year for the Barracuda, 20 goals, 34 assists, 209 shots on goal. Easily led the way for the Barracuda there. Also with the Sharks, got 4 games. We had a goal, an assist, 4 shots on goal, 14.41 average ice time, 29.31 Corsi for, 20% goals for. So maybe not what you potentially expected from him. In terms of a Corsi for and stuff, but again, getting that taste of NHL play, and I think for Gushchin, he's another one of those knocking on the door guys. Right, we know the scoring prowess every time he's played with the Sharks. It's a lot like Bordeleau before, where you saw a lot of great potential, like offensive, but again, like if he's not at least trying defensively, and I think Gushchin does try very hard defensively. Right, like coaches are gonna not trust you, and we know Gushchin can provide the offense. Every time he's been on the ice, he has provided offense for the Sharks, but it's getting those defensive areas cleaned up for him is going to be the big thing. And it stinks that he lost a bunch of time around the All-Star break this season due to an injury. It was a little bit slow coming back from said injury, but once he did, he was on fire to end the season. And I'm really excited to. Again, that shot is ridiculous shot. But if he earns an NHL job this year, like he is a potential monster season for the Sharks, especially with the hope improved talent around. And if Gushchin, assuming if he is on an NHL roster playing power play minutes, Gushchin could be one of those guys where all of a sudden he's quietly put up, 20 goals because of what he can do on the offensively. But again, can he fix some of his defensive miscues and just like not be a like super negative in the defensive zone? So I still think Gushchin, I think he kind of I wouldn't be surprised if he starts with the Barracuda just because of a numbers game. But if he comes out on fire with the Barracuda, I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those maybe like November type of call-ups and then just never sees the AHL again, because he's really good. And he, just as a quick with his contract, he still has one more year on his contract. And again, RFA status for him, so you don't need to worry about kind of where he's at with that. But Gushchin's going to be awesome. Can't wait to watch Gushchin play some more. So, but yeah, we'll continue looking at some of these mid to late round picks, guys. So we'll talk about Jack Thompson, Brandon Coe, some of the 7th round guys here in just 1 minute. Right now, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. So maybe you think maybe you're full of Vamos Gatos. Maybe you think the Stars are the way to go. If you're an oil man, or you're going with the Rangers, you pick them, they win. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, so let's finish up here with one of the new pieces from the Sharks, and that would be Jack Thompson. Thompson was a third-round pick from the Tampa Bay Lightning with the Barracuda. He played 16 games, had a goal, 8 assists, 29 shots on goal. With the San Jose Sharks, 2 games, no goals, no assists, 3 shots on goal. Played 1741. Corsi for 47.54%. Goals for 25%. He was in that game where the Oilers decided to just kind of do whatever they want against the Sharks, and they put up 1,000 goals because they were trying to get McDavid up to 100 assists in that game. But Jack Thompson, though, definitely a stronger performance with the Syracuse Crunch before the trade, and I think getting used to the system a little bit, or getting used to new surroundings for the Barracuda. So I'm not going to try to hold that against him because, again, right, you've spent a lot of time in that Tampa Bay system playing with those teammates, and then to kind of get thrown into a new spot, there's going to be some adjustment, right? You think about Fabian Zetterlund, who we were all like, what are we doing here with him? And then last year turned it on and was great. For Thompson, I think he is going to be the undisputed, again, assuming Mukhamadullin makes the jump, he's going to be the undisputed #1 defenseman on the Barracuda next year and eat a bunch of this power play minutes, eat a bunch of minutes, be kind of the next guy in line for the Sharks as he gets used to the system, right? And I think for him, being a little bit patient with him and let him kind of cook down with the Barracuda, because as hopefully this Barracuda team starts to get a little bit better, we all kind of expected this year they would make a big jump. They did not. Hopefully, we're gonna have very low expectations for the Barracuda and hopefully be pleasantly surprised. That's the mantra we're taking with the Barracuda this year. But I think he could be the guy, like how we saw Mukhamadullin last year, kind of be the guy, eat up a bunch of minutes. I think Jack Thompson is going to be that guy for the Barracuda, and then hopefully get some time with the Sharks at some point here at the end of the season. A little bit more than 2 games. That's at least the hope with it. But I'm excited for Jack Thompson. I talked about him yesterday. I had him as a kind of average NHL player. I think kind of maybe second line pairing, if not like a really, really, really souped up third line pairing type of player. It's kind of right where he'll probably fit in with the Sharks going forward, especially if the Sharks continue to add to their defensive pipeline that we hope that they do in the NHL draft, or they make some trades, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm still excited about what Jack Thompson is going to bring to the organization. Next, one, Brandon Coe, 4th round pick, 57 games this year, 12 goals, 5 assists, 59 shots on goal. And Coe is kind of a guy, even going back to his draft, when he got drafted, super toolsy. You knew it was going to take a while to develop. And you've seen, again, kind of like with Ozzy Wiesblatt, where you've seen flashes of him play really, really well, and then he just kind of disappears for a little bit. And with Coe, I think he forgets that he's 6'4" sometimes, and he's just bigger than other guys. And he needs to continue to use his body and be a little bit more physical, especially after playing, kind of being a monster in the OHL, his overager season. Right, he's a big guy playing against smaller guys, and you don't really have to. Maybe the nuance of the physical game. And I think in the AHL, he's still learning that. You're seeing, you do see the shot, like the scoring touch is there. And again, scoring, he did have a really nice season putting the puck in the back of the net. But again, like he scored 12 goals on 59 shots, one, not super sustainable because that's 20%. Not a big math guy. But I think for him, though, is can continue to round out the rest of his game. And I still think Ko's got a future as a potential kind of, bottom six guy for the Sharks, but it's looking kind of more and more like he's going to just be a potential AHL kind of guy for San Jose. So let's finish up here with some of the seventh round guys. So we have Timofei Spitserov, seventh round player, playing with the University of Vermont, 34 games this season, 7 goals, 6 assists, 72 shots on goal. Watched a couple of Spitserov games here and there. I don't really see it, to be honest. The Sharks, so they have basically they have until 2025, August 15th, 2025 to decide on him. I don't really see it with him and kind of what his future is with San Jose. You don't really see the scoring. He's it really isn't my cup of tea. So, and then we'll finish it up with Alex Young, 7th round pick this season, transferred to Arizona State. And I don't think he really had the season that he wanted. 6 games, 3 assists, 61 shots on goal during that time. The Sharks have to make a decision with him for his contract by August 15th of this season. I would assume that they're not going to sign him, as they didn't sign him after the season was over. I think he's playing in the he got an ECHL contract there, but with these dart throw guys, like you're hoping to see something with them, and you wonder if Young had not transferred and stayed at Colgate, where his career would go from there. But I know the Colgate system, having him on the podcast and talking about him and talking about that and decision, and the coaches left and a lot of that, and again, a lot of it is very much relationship driven. One of the coaches went to Arizona State. He followed that coach and wasn't really getting the same playing time, was mostly on the 3rd and 4th line at Arizona State, while at Colgate he was getting top 6 minutes. And you saw the production just not be the same for him this year. And I think that's why he didn't get that ELC from San Jose. So, that's going to be it for the 2020 draft class. So we have done it, gone through them all. Guys who are no longer with us, of course, from that class. That would be Adam Raska, who got traded to the Minnesota Wild, and Linus Oberg, who the Sharks just never signed. So those guys are forever part of that class, as the Sharks. All forward classes now added 2 defensemen, and Shakir Mukhamadullin and Jack Thompson. But that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back next week. We'll hit the 2021 draft class. And since that class is a little bit smaller, we'll also talk about the goalies kind of in the system too. The Barracuda goalies there with Makanemi, Magus Krona, and Georgi Romanov. So we'll talk about those guys as part of that class. Got another draft profile already in the books done. So we'll have that. Continue to get you guys ready for the draft. Continue to get you guys ready for free agency. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Until tomorrow. Until Monday. Bye, friends.